Picture this, you and your partner have just had the best coitus you could ever imagine having, and after you lay into bed cuddling, you think to yourself, how can life ever get better than this? How on earth will we ever top tonight? And then suddenly, she turns over and says, let's try something a little more freaky. That is Marvel Spider-Man 2, so let's roll that intro! I have been playing this video game religiously for the past 3 days since its release, even going as far as to snag the platinum and even start a new save file because I physically cannot wait for New Game Plus any longer. I lasted like maybe a few hours. This game is an absolute triumph and easily one of my favourite games like of all time. I've never sat down and played a game for more than half a day in my entire life, and that's not even a joke. It really, like, this game removed days from my calendar because I was so intertwined with the storyline, the gameplay, and pretty much everything else the game had to offer. If the previous games really made you feel like Spider-Man, then this game makes you feel like Spider-Man, but also adds a new layer of power fantasy that you'd never expect with a Spider-Man game, and that's to feel like fucking Superman with those glorious web wings. The traversal is easily one of the best parts of the game, and I found myself only using fast travel when I wanted to pick up the last few spider bots for my platinum. It's absolutely perfect, and if Insomniac decided to call it a day, say that's it, we're not touching Traversal anymore, then it won't get any complaints from me, because more excuses to loop-de-loop around like a psychopath, and I would absolutely take it. I think DLC or Spider-Man 3 though could do with some form of like race minigame or time trial that really puts all of these mechanics to the test, because I found that you can really just rely on the web wings if you were boring, so it'd be nice for Insomniac to force the player to try something new and different and showcase their system a little better with something that just forces you to use sort of, you know, all the things that, you know, all the things you want to use, right? But combat, man, combat is nuts. I mean it when I say this is easily the best combat I've ever played in a video game, straight up. I know people immediately want to point to the Arkham games or God of War, and I say that those games for the most part were fine. Arkham had this weird floaty combat where Batman would glide with the grace of a swan across the room to break someone's nose, and God of War was absolutely like 100% a button masher, which you really had to go out of your way to do anything remotely cool after the first few hours and some upgrades. But with Spider-Man 2, with the abilities, the gadgets and more, I found myself continuously finding new ways to innovate my combat and do amazing things. You can master it easily and do awesome stuff, but it takes someone creative to do even cooler things, and I think that's the right way to do it. I basically spammed symbiote abilities the entire time and still found my way into some super fun and interesting combinations. You know what I'm saying? So even someone as stupid as me can get it. Next, we're going to talk about the story. All right. So before we get into this, I want to tell you all there will be spoilers. All right. So if you want to dip now, then I thank you for being here and I love you. Gives a kiss before you go. Mwah. Okay. Playing as Venom was fucking elite, and Insomniac are actual demons for giving this man his own ass mechanics with grabbing enemies, parrying projectiles, and shooting them right back, and even his own special moves. They absolutely nailed the feel of Venom, and I want my own game immediately with this sexy beast. The story, I found myself not being as emotionally torn as I was during Spider-Man 1, but actually in this game, I found myself go, whoa, this is the coolest thing in the world, more times than not. I think it balances the two, like Spider-Man, really well, with Miles on his quest for revenge turning into a real coming of age moment for the character where his pride stops getting in the way, and that allows Miles to basically save the day. And Peter was an interesting case, right? Because even as soon as last night, I was saying that it felt like they really wanted to bait a Peter Parker death in this game, either to keep using the same cards to bait the player for emotional value, or make Miles look even stronger, right? I don't know if you guys watch professional wrestling, but there's a thing where you make someone look sort of, you know, you squash someone or whatever to make someone else look better, put them over, so to speak. And it really felt like they were trying to do that with Miles. But then I stopped to think, I said, well, that's the theme of the story. Peter needs the symbiote in order to keep up with the younger Spider-Man. You know, that's the point, and it does push that onto the player. It does make that a bit obvious, but I think that was me just sort of being so enamored with all the crazy stuff that I wasn't able to look deeper initially. So, you know, that was just me being stupid. But, you know, what I will say is Peter with the symbiote was an absolute masterclass of voice acting, and slow building. And honestly, like the scene where he's asleep and the symbiote goes nuts with MJ in like a horror chase scene was one of my favorite things in any Spider-Man media probably ever. I thought it was so cool, and there were plenty of scenes like that as well, like Scream as MJ. I thought that was genius and gave MJ and Peter's relationship a much needed boost when it came to progression that honestly before that didn't feel like much at all. Harry as Venom was fantastic. I'm glad they didn't shoehorn Eddie Brock in just to make some nerds happy on Twitter. This story is what would happen if Venom debuted in the King of Black comic storyline with Noel, and I think it works and just gives us so many cool moments. But like, I can't lie, I fucking died when Venom was revealed to have wings. I found that like, no, obviously I get where it comes from, it's fine, it wasn't like, oh, this is ruined, it just, I was like, this is nuts, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is what I mean, like with the symbiote city being absolutely covered and these crazy story moments happening, you know, even just Black Cat using the Wonder Tomb, teleporting all over the gaff. This game was nuts, and I really don't know how they're going to top it for Marvel Spider-Man 3. But sometimes, like, all I need is my monkey brain just loves seeing the symbiote storyline done justice, and despite me not being, like, emotional about the story, I definitely feel sad that the journey to this game is over, and my experience has come to an end. But, as they always say, don't be sad because it's over, smile because it happened. I'm so emotional.